Welcome to the VIP section.
A mural meant to celebrate Black history and the Black Lives Matter movement is now a symbol of hate to some. The controversy is centered on this painting of Louis Farrakhan, a polarizing figure who also organized the Million Man March on Washington in 1995. Cliff Abrams was there.
The minister means so much to the Black community. He's an icon.
Abrams advocated for this mural that is located underneath I-287 on Manhattan Avenue in the town of Greenburgh. The town board has decided to paint over the image of Farrakhan.
Fairview Greenburgh is a Black community. So it's like the town trying to dictate to us who our heroes are.
Abrams was joined by a group of supporters who want this piece of the mural to stay, but others find it offensive because Farrakhan has made numerous controversial statements about Jews and the LGBTQ community. The Southern Poverty Law Center labels the head of the Nation of Islam anti-Semitic.
I'm not, going to defend anything that the minister said. And I think they took a lot of stuff he said out of
that brother Grand Poobah. Heard that brother got down. Yo, let's have that brother come over.
Hold on, let's get that man his theme song.
That's the tone. Tone set the tone. Yeah, you hear me? You in the building with me, Shay?
Hold on, one more. Let's see if you know this.
Oh yeah, we talking that shit tonight. I think you might have caught me in the building.
Shades of my skin.
Okay.
I see you talking.
Oh yeah, we talking that shit tonight.
How's everybody in the building? Yeah, we gonna talk about the thing.
We got some shit to talk about tonight. That rocks my soul.
Oh yes, sir.
Not keep a bomb, Tom.
Baby.
I want to thank everybody for pulling up. Yes, we are, Tone. Give us a bomb. Come on. We interviewed yesterday, Petey Crack. You know what I mean? Talking that Philly shit. But tonight we talking real talk. Real Rap Thursdays is gonna probably be one of the biggest nights on the platform, man. I keep building up energy too. That's a fact. So what's good, my dude?
It's must-see TV, Shay. It's must-see TV, bro.
Got you.
It's definitely must-see TV. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
The people must be
Now, I want to thank you, man, for even.
Not too many people want to talk.
That's a fact. That's why I said I want to thank you for building with me on this, because I believe in this. You know what I mean?
Sir.
Everything ain't just
sir.
happy-go-lucky. Trying to dance around with the rappers every single day. You know what I mean? There is real talk. There is real life.
We ain't shucking and jiving today.
Oh no, we're not.
We ain't shucking and jiving today.
Life ain't just about party bullshit, okay?
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? So we gonna talk about some things. Well, what I want to talk about tonight is based on something that Tone asked me last week. Tone threw a real loaded question at me and had me in deep thought once we got off the air. And that was basically, do I think it's too late for Black people to turn around in terms of the current state of affairs? We as a nation of people, how we being treated, and what he asked was, like I said, was a loaded question that had a lot of elements to it. So over the next few weeks, basically I want to break them down, because that was such a heavy question that you got to put those things in the compartment. You got to compartmentalize those, a question like that. Right. So the first thing I feel like we need to do is we need to talk to our youth. Because our youth is
a lot
out
of
here
people don't do that.
Like I'm tired of going on social. Definitely.
So the problem,
You know
the
what I'm
problem
saying?
with the youth, the problem with the youth, I'm gonna keep it real. Our youth is being attacked. No other race on earth youth is being attacked.
That's true.
Our youth is being attacked with the music, with the Netflix.
Our youth is being attacked, but at the same hand, bro, I think we do a lot of things that make it easier for the opposition forces to attack us.
Now you're 100%
You know what I'm
right.
saying? You're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So a lot of times, you know, especially our youth, but we as black people, period, we are by nature emotional creatures. Sometimes that work for us because our emotions allows us to be creative. It allows us sometimes to do great things, but it also hinders us in a lot of ways because we sometimes let our emotions supersede our intelligence.
Facts.
And when it comes to dealing with society, it's definitely a hindrance. It does not help us to get emotional. Too many times I see us on social media getting out of character. And it's at the point right now where I feel like the way we acting is becoming our character because it's who the opposition forces want us to be, and we're playing right into it. So
Facts.
the first thing I really want to talk to about the youth is how to approach certain things without being emotional. Because one thing my father always said is you could get your point across without yelling. You could get your point across without screaming. You could get your point across without acting crazy. So a lot of times, like you said, we're being attacked. A good defense can beat a great offense.
Oh, anytime.
You gotta have a great defense. And they don't know how to defend themselves in certain situations. So what I want to talk about is how we deal with the interaction of law enforcement. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How do you need to deal with these things? The first element that we have to handle and understand is we need to know the law.
That's the thing. A lot of niggas don't know the law, right?
Nah, most young brothers don't learn until they go to jail, bro.
Facts.
Nah, but that's real talk, though. That's when you see them in the law library. That's when you see them asking questions to us OGs. And that's another thing I want to say, too, to you youth. Don't value brothers like myself just when you in jail. Because I never spent a day in prison. So you're not going to get game from me there. You're going to get game from me on the outside. So learn before you go up in there. And if you're going to go up in there for something that's worth it.
Yo, just speaking on that, yo, you don't even gotta know all the law. I think you gotta know who the law is, and the cops is the law. And if you got respect for the cops, yo, most niggas go to jail, and you know once you in jail, while you in the bullpen, you know everybody's a lawyer telling you how to get out of jail. I think you figure out how to stay out the bullpen.
Shout out to my man Younger Music.
You know what I'm
saying?
saying?
Outwork them.
And you know what's funny, bro? I've helped many brothers' cases, man, based on the fact that, let me tell you something. Let me tell you a little story. When I turned 13 years old is when my father first started hearing.
Shout out to Danza Report.
That I obtained knowledge of self by way of the 5% Nation. So on my 13th birthday, my present from him was a penal code book with $50 in it. And that became my birthday gift for birthdays from there on because he felt like, well, first and foremost, my father, he served 4 mayors. You know what I'm saying? So,
all right.
Me being the person that he
I just bought my man. This is another podcast.
What's going on, man?
Yo, what's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
Podcast soon to be good.
I'm doing fantastic. You know, I'm watching my Buffalo Bills ball.
Yeah, I'm
building.
peeking at it, man. I was watching. It's a great game, though.
Hell yeah.
Game is
Who
good.
won?
But they're still playing.
Still going down. Buffalo killing them right now, though. They up 24-10.
What quarter is that? I got the over.
Third quarter. It's still 20 minutes
it's looking
left.
under.
It's the fourth now.
It's like 12 minutes in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
It's 24-10?
24-10 Buffalo.
What was the over-under on it?
52.
Nope.
Way under. Nah,
You ain't gonna make it, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you
What
know.
you took, the over or the under?
Oh, I don't take unders.
Well, you're
Oh, you
going
do the over.
you're
Oh,
I only
going
do
under.
overs.
That is the best time to do overs.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
These are two teams with offenses and defenses, man.
Because you know
Buffalo
why?
defense
I know I never take unders is because when I'm watching the game and I'm gambling, realistically, I want to see a high scoring people running up and down.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
So if
but
my money's on the
realistically,
line,
you're
I just
losing
like to see
money.
a good game. No, of course. But that's the thing, though. No, but hold on, Dan. Let me tell you, that's the thing. I'm one of those gamblers that's just like, I don't like to watch sports for free.
Okay.
So
Got you.
I'm really just, I don't got like $500,000 on one game, or I
I'm
got
not
like
gonna front.
parlays for like
I'm not gonna
$30,
front.
$50.
Nah.
Yeah, yeah.
Teams to win
You know what?
50 grand.
I just
Yeah, I'm
gave
not
up
trying
on
to win.
this
I'm
shit.
trying to win big.
My man,
Yep.
my man
I
says
gave
the
up
king
on
of
this shit. I
trying
was
to turn
gambling a little too much
$12
in my
to
life, and I
10,000.
was like,
Facts.
fuck that.
That's a fact.
Got you.
They be trying to turn $12 to 10,000.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only way to play on FanDuel.
Yo,
Nah,
listen,
man, that shit is
that
not
sounds
safe.
like one hell of a flip to me, bro. I ain't mad at that at all.
That's
Yeah,
a
hell
fact.
yeah.
But
If I
let's
can
get
turn $12 into 10K, I'm with that 1,000%.
That
And
nigga
it takes
gamble ticket be
10,000
looking like
$12 bets to win it.
that nigga gamble ticket be looking like CVS, a CVS receipt.
To my
That's a
brother,
fact.
I'm not a gambling man. So I really don't know the ins and outs. I got a cousin who's heavy in that shit, and I
Yep.
constantly tell him he need to let it go because his
Real
wins is
shit.
nowhere near his losses.
I'll tell you the funniest thing about betting, right? Everybody always shows you the wins, but they never show you the losses.
Oh,
And
You
that's
know
that's
why
a
what I
I
mean?
tell
fact.
my cousin,
Yo, my
Yeah.
man, I ain't gonna say
the
no
win-
names.
I
or
know.
nowhere near your
Off the
losses
gambling.
because he don't post them on social media enough.
Yeah.
He doesn't post the
That's a
L's.
fact.
Every so
Wait,
often,
no, mom-
every blue moon, every full moon,
Yeah.
he shows a ticket from FanDuel showing that he won.
Yeah,
That's a
he's
fact.
happy as hell too.
Now,
He-
Dan's, I'm glad you pulled up tonight because on Thursdays we want to get down to the real gritty, really let people know out there that it's not just all about like laughing and having a great time with these rappers on these platforms.
Interception, baby.
There is
My
Buffalo.
bad. Excitement.
It's an interception, baby. Now,
Yeah.
facts. Give them a bomb. Shout out to Buffalo. Many of them boys is out there.
I'm sure
At
they
the game?
probably are. I'm not sure, but they probably are. Could you close that? Somebody can.
That's a fact. So, Akeem, Dan's is in here tonight. We talking real shit. Let's get back on topic.
Yeah.
Just to bring you up to speed in case you haven't heard before you jumped on, we talking about Tone asked me a loaded question. So what I told him is that I'm going to break them down into segments. And his question was to me, do I feel like we as people of color can turn around the current dynamics, which is a lot of fuckery, buffoonery, and just downright ignorance? I said yes last week, but I didn't really, because it would take too long to bring out the full dynamic of it. So I broke it down into sections. So the next few weeks we're gonna talk about this at different stages. And the first stage that I wanted to speak on is to the youth and how they need to not let their emotions supersede their intelligence when they're moving about in public, especially as per the police.
That's a fact.
Now that I done brought you up to speed, basically, Shay, this is what it is, man. Like I said, not knowing the law is almost a handicap. Not almost, it is a handicap. And it's not like when you go to a job, they give you policies, rules, and regulations. When you go to school, they give you their policies, their rules and regulations, their do's and don'ts. In American society, they thrive off of your ignorance.
Right.
So you're not gonna get the layout on how you need to move and operate in society.
I mean, do you feel and this is a major thing why I started feeling like me and Tone, we started talking, you know, when we opposed to
You know, somebody's calling. You got to put that phone on DND.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Who's calling me?
No.
That was weird.
Somebody spoof calling? Yo.
You got the feds on you.
Three-letter organizations.
You know when you start talking about shit like that, well, how it goes.
That's a fact.
Truth, man. My mouth cannot be silenced.
That's a fact. So wait, I actually have the brother in here right now that actually, that made the actual scripture of the topic that you was talking about last time with the Farrakhan on the wall. He's in here. The guy who drew, he drew the picture.
Brother, do not fold the pressure.
Let's get him in here, man.
Let's get him in here.
Let's get him in here.
Let's get him in here.
That's chess.
That's chess. Let's get him in here. I'm gonna get him in here for you to talk to him. He's the guy who actually made.
He made the mural for Earn Your Leisure.
He made the mural.
Got you.
So we're gonna get him in here.
All right,
there you go.
Peace.
Big three, bro. Let's give him a bomb. Shout out to my man Chester. Yo, Chess, I'm glad you came up in here tonight because last week I had no idea. I was like blind to the fact of what was going on. I haven't even been over there to see what you put together.
I had to tell Shay it was Earl versus Paul Finer.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
No, but check this out. Check this out. He brought it up on the show. I had to bring you in to talk to him. You know what I mean?
Oh, by all means, my brother.
Peace, King.
When I got wind of it, because it was posted on social media by a brother named Akeem Shabazz. That's like my brother from another mother. Yo, Raheem, we gonna get you on one day so you can talk your talk too on Real Rap Thursdays.
Facts.
When
Shout out to November 9 in the building.
When I seen it, I was disturbed by it because I'm really feeling like in today's society, they still shouldn't be trying to hoodwink us, bamboozle us and everything. You know what I'm saying? So I spoke to Jay and I told him, I said, yo, listen, I got my topic I want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? And it was your story. So I'm glad that you on here because you can even further enlighten us and update us as to the status of that situation. But
matter of fact, Chess, before you get started, can you give us a little background? Because your art is crazy. Can you tell us a little? Can you tell us how you got the approval, the whole mural and everything?
Yeah, so I'm not the lead artist. I'm just was one of the assistant artists on the project. But when I first heard about it, it's Greenberg and of course Cliff. I wanted to be a part of the mural. It was something historical, and from an education standpoint, and with the art background, just being able to share Black history from an artistic perspective. So it's right there on the wall. You know what I mean? Like these lessons. Some of these stuff is not taught in school, like the Marcus Garvey. We barely talk about Malcolm X and so on and so forth. And definitely Farrakhan, they don't mention that in school. So for it to be in an artistic, expressive way right there in the community for the kids, it was just a whole community, but more so for the kids to be walking by, especially during the summertime when we was putting the mural up, the kids, they was walking to camp and you just hear their feedback, oh, that's such and such on the wall. And then you had some of the elders walking their grandkids by and said, do you know who that is? Just pointing it out. So it was more of an educational aspect.
That
But
I could have put basketball players, football players, baseball players.
As a kid that used to ask 1,000 questions a day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I was a super curious kid. And when that mural, for those who may not know who those images are and what they represent, they could walk by with their father one day and see that face and ask their father. And that will in turn allow Black fathers to really get back to teaching their children.
Absolutely.
So I was super excited to hear about it. The back end of the situation was what I was bothered about.
with the
And
Farrakhan.
yes,
Right. I was disturbed too.
it's like
Wait,
Yeah.
I'm
just so
at
for the people who don't know, can you catch everybody up to speed? Like, you know, like what the whole situation was going on.
Well, so yeah, there's an image of Farrakhan on the mural as part of the mural, and it's depicting the Million Man March. You know, that's the scene with the image of Farrakhan is really, you know, just the backstory, just
one of the greatest
depicting.
days of my life, brother. The man,
Absolutely. I was at the Million More March in 2000 and what was it? 2005. I was working at a group home. We took a group of kids down there. So I was inspired by it to come back to the community and, you know, the message that I received, you know, I want to come back and do my part as a black man in the community. So for Farrakhan's image to be in the mural, I didn't see anything wrong with it because, like
Me
I said,
neither.
from an educational perspective and just the influence that Farrakhan has on the black community, I thought it was dope. You
and
know, and then it
yeah,
was right there, right, and then it was right there, like right next to Farrakhan, we have the scene of the insurrection, where so just like the parallels of that, you know, you have Farrakhan who had the Million Man March, the Million More March, so on and so forth. Over, you know, they say over 1 million black people came organized in D.C. and it was peaceful, as
Yeah,
opposed
peaceful,
to, you
no
know, with
problem.
Trump with the insurrection, it was, you
it
know,
was
a whole
Yeah.
nother story. So
they
yeah,
call it like it is.
yeah,
And
of
Shout
course.
out to GQ
people
Tony
say
Lowe.
see white
Daddy's in the
America.
building, Tone. He see Chestnut on here.
Yeah.
He said, "Great job, Key." My father even know you did that.
No, appreciate it.
He's in
Yeah,
the
I
live.
see a piece of
Yeah, he
Slope.
said, "Great job." Facts.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Doing a
But
little
yeah, like I said,
history
I
on
was
my
just an
boy.
assistant artist. I did, you know, and as we was working, because they made a big issue saying that it wasn't an initial sketch, but a lot of this stuff in the mural, you know, it was a lot of
Shout out to
community.
Jay Lee,
Yeah,
Coach Jay Lee.
it was a lot of community input going on as we was working on you know, on the mural. So there was a lot of stuff that wasn't on the initial sketch, but for them to just pinpoint Farrakhan and then for the town supervisor to bring his own personal feelings about how he felt about Farrakhan, you know, to kind of determine why his image should be removed, I thought that was, you know, kind of crazy because the whole time we was out there, it was nothing but love, you know what I mean? And like I
What
said,
you mean
people,
from them?
what's that? It was
It
nothing but
was
love
nothing
from the
but love
community,
from.
not just nothing
Oh,
but love
okay.
from the
So
community,
they
you know?
wasn't the people that's like upset about this. They weren't out there when
No,
everything
no,
was
I
done.
know definitely Paul Finer is, you know, because we put in a lot of hours, like throwing up, you know, putting up that the first part of the mural.
So he was around. So he trying to turn his back like he didn't know.
Yeah, supposedly, I guess. I don't know how when we got back
Wow.
because after
But
everything
the
got
biggest
finished,
issue is,
yeah.
what's up, Jay Lee? Definitely, thank you, my man. Thank you. The biggest thing is, you know, Paul Finer.
Yo, I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna hop out from the Dancing Project page. Just give me a couple minutes.
Okay, my
I
man.
just realized I was on a regular page.
I know. I saw that. All right,
All right.
Paul Finer. I'm just gonna keep it real. I mean, you know, that's my pop man, but he's Jewish. Yeah.
About it, Tone.
You know, Paul Finer's Jewish, and Farrakhan has a lot to say about the Jewish community. A lot. Yeah. Like, regardless if he's right or wrong, he has a lot to say. No, but I feel like Paul is getting pressured by other people. I don't really think he cares. I think because now that he's saying,
I think it came from him more so.
he and
You know, me
you think
personally,
it came more from him?
yeah, me personally, I don't know
No,
exactly.
I know that, but no, I understand that. Taxes are paying for that. They don't want to see somebody who badmouths them. I understand that, but from what we're hearing now, is that he was aware of what that was going on. He said that something else was submitted to him. Correct, right?
Yeah, the initial sketch that the town approved, the image of Farrakhan wasn't an initial sketch, but like I said, there was a lot of stuff that wasn't an initial sketch that ended up on a wall, you know, and
If I may,
and also from an artistic perspective,
if I may interject for a second, I don't know who the individual was per se. You know, the man that spoke up and expressed his displeasure.
right.
But one thing I do know is that he really didn't know who Farrakhan was because his claims that he made,
Right.
Farrakhan hates Asians. Farrakhan even hating Jews. See, what was being lost in translation is that to speak, you must know.
Right.
And the way he presented it on camera gave me the impression that he really didn't know who he was really talking about.
Right.
All he said was Farrakhan hates Jews, Farrakhan hates Asians, Farrakhan hates this person, hates that person. To know a person is to do research, and he obviously didn't. And that's all. I really don't have no attack or anything to say about the man that spoke up about that. My problem is that when we decide who our leaders are, they think it's their right to shoot them down. Figuratively,
yeah, really never thought of that. Yeah, how they gonna try to dictate who our leaders are?
Yeah,
you
like
can't tell me
no. I agree with you.
I
It's
don't
like
care
if you're
what
gonna,
country I'm living in, Democratic or if it's a doggone dictatorship.
my
You're
thing
not
is,
tell me I am a free thinker. I am a critical thinker. So you can't tell me I make up my own mind. I make my own decisions. And you can't tell us who our leaders are.
Absolutely. I agree.
So for that reason and that reason alone, the fact that I'm Muslim has no meaning on it. It could have been a Christian leader. If I follow that leader and I know that his heart is made of gold, I would be just as angry as if it was anyone. You know what I'm saying? If that was a white leader and he spoke up about the truth of what's going on in Black America, I'm standing with him. So it has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with right and wrong. Yeah. And part of the reason why I wanted to talk is we got to stop allowing those who oppose us to think that we're ignorant enough to continue being bamboozled and just, you know, because they throw something out there that we're going to take it on face value. We have to change that dynamic. Yeah, it is important for us to understand that, because as long as we're being looked and viewed a certain way, they're going to continue to think that they can impose their will on us when it comes to certain aspects. So that has to change. And I don't know if you heard me before you got on, but I spoke about how we, being people of color, are emotional creatures, and sometimes that works to our greatness, and sometimes it becomes a hindrance. And when it comes to dealing with society, it's a hindrance because we're already being viewed and looked at in a certain manner. We got to change that dynamic and learn how to be critical thinkers. Think first, speak second.
Yo, Aki, you know the situation made national news, right?
Shout out to Flip TV.
Oh, of course.
And everything.
Of course.
So CNN
and
MSNBC, one of them too.
Just to get back to, you know, last week before we move on, I'm just getting sick and tired of the idea and concept that if you oppose a viewpoint of someone in the Jewish community, that you're anti-Semitic.
Yo, can I tell you something? Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something that, yo, can I say something that always bothered me? That every rap song, this is something that personally always bothered me, always. The Benjamins came out. Every rap song can say the word nigga. Kill nigga, shoot nigga, drug nigga, whatever kind of nigga this, nigga that. But they wouldn't let them say stack chips like Hebrew.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that song.
Benjamin song? Yeah. You know, Jay, stack chips like
Hebrew.
Yeah. Can't even say Hebrew. That's crazy. Say nigga all day.
Exactly.
That one thing
that's the
bothers
hypocrisy
me.
in the matter, though. But like I was saying, it's like there's this, you know, aura of invincibility almost that comes from that community, that they could typecast you once you oppose them, no matter what it is. And right after we got off the live stream last week, I sent Shay the minister's response. And in his response, there was a collage of people that he spoke of that they deemed to be anti-Semitic. And then I broke down the meaning of that word. You know what I'm saying? So, Shay, you got to put that segment back up so the people can learn. So
Definitely.
that the Jewish community can even learn as well what the true meaning of that word is, because that word don't only apply to them.
That's
That
a fact.
word applies to anybody that's in the Middle Eastern region. Okay? So it's not a term that's deemed to be used only for Jews. If you're anti-Semitic, then you're anti-Jewish. No. We're gonna end that today.
And real quick, I wanted to just to give a little background check on my man Chestnut. Just to let everybody know the artist. His father, like this, it's crazy that he's a part of this and painting the mural, because his father, like back in the days, like I don't want to say he had a barbershop in the basement, but that's where I used to get my hair cut.
Facts.
And that's also where I used to go get the African oils,
100%.
the Malcolm X t-shirt.
Yes. He was on it from
the
from then.
incense, and he had all the
No, 100%.
all these leaders in the basement, and it's just like it's crazy how it comes through, like, you know, full circle. Like,
Yeah.
is part of this.
No, definitely.
Like I remember hearing about all the, like, they didn't teach this in
I said, yeah, even with Farrakhan, I said that's from my father, just the lessons of me.
Yeah, that's, you know, I remember the first time I'm hearing about Marcus Garvey, Farrakhan, all this, all was in the basement of my man.
That's a fact. So Chess, where
That's a wise man teaching his children how to be wiser.
Right.
That's a fact. So Chess, where are they going from here with the whole?
The mural.
Are y'all standing your ground?
Yeah, of course. The artist is standing their ground. So right now it's at a standstill. Excuse me. We're still waiting to hear from the town as far as you know, when we can move on to the other side, because contractually, right now, there's really not much that they can do as far as
Oh, we're
trying to
supposed
get
to be on both sides.
Huh? Yeah, there's still another part of the story. There's still another part of the story that we're supposed to be telling on the other side.
What do you mean the other side, like the
other side of the bridge?
The other side of the bridge.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, we're supposed to be starting from ancient Egypt, leading up until like what y'all see now. So
wow,
the
like
part that y'all
Cairo
see
and all
now
that.
is really the second half. So the first part is really not. So I tell people what y'all looking at now. It's like trying to open up a book. Y'all reading the second half of a book, and y'all got an opinion on the whole story, or it's like listening to an album. You only hear the last half of the album.
So do you really want to piss them off? If you really want to piss them off, put on that side the original.
Nobody want to piss them off.
Yeah, tell them
nobody.
Tell the truth about the black Jews.
No, nobody want to piss them.
I don't mean piss them off. I just mean tell them about the black Jews. Yeah, let's see what they say about.
It's more of what's right. It's
just
not
to continue to educate us from our
Yes, the education is not pissing them off. It should be making them happy.
And outside of education, our right to express
freedom of expression.
Well, what I'm saying is, if they don't want to, if they don't want Farrakhan up there, they definitely don't want to hear the original Jews black.
Yeah, I mean,
and me as an artist, I just think, you know, like if you looking at the whole perspective of everything, if you that disturbed by Farrakhan, just skip over that part. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, just look past it.
Just don't look at it.
Just don't look at it. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's
who cares about that? If you're not feeling them,
yeah. But see, this is not about feelings.
Yeah, get out your feelings. Yeah, and it's a fact. It's part of history. Yeah, yes. It's part of Black history. And then there's supposed to be QR codes to educate people on what they're actually looking at on the mural too.
Yeah, but I'm saying
if they had that much of an issue, then they could just like skip out the part of educating people on Farrakhan, and then that's up to them to take it upon themselves to, you know, do their history.
But for them, this is not about emotions.
Yeah, get out there feelings, right? Of course.
This is a flex. This is an agenda. This is an assertion of power. Or power that they think that they're entitled to.
But who has the power? The people.
Exactly.
Yo, I heard Hassan Campbell talking about this the whole situation too.
Yeah, you know Hassan Campbell was even talking about.
Yeah, he was saying, how come Maizon ain't out there trying to get this the mural?
Yeah, but we don't want that. We don't need that.
Yeah, we don't need that. That makes it hot.
Divide that allows them to infiltrate and divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Need another black man telling another black man why he ain't doing this. That's not the solution, number one. And that I'd never be a part of. Just so that y'all know, I'm not big on trying to slander somebody else to build me up. You know what I'm saying? So keep your personal issues. Keep your social issues on the platform of what's right and what's wrong. You know what I'm saying? So
Definitely.
when I'm speaking about right and wrong. I'm not speaking about religion. I'm not speaking about culture. I'm not speaking about race. I'm speaking about right and wrong. And for them to come into this country and totally seclude themselves from the masses, and mind you, my brother, I made it very clear to Shay and them that I am surrounded by them. I live in a community that they run shop on. They run things over here where I'm at. I got them living on the left of me, on the right of me, below me, above me. So
I'm sorry, newsflash, Hawk. They run everything. They run everything. You can't go nowhere.
Yeah, I did. I was able to check out the video, so I did. You know, I tapped into the information that you put out. Yeah.
So
no, he did contact me, Hawk. He said that he watched
the whole
everything.
video. Dope.
Facts.
I see things a little more
Also,
clear.
the story with the lady with the BMW, with the EBT, with the BMW.
he said all the way up to
yes, sir.
Yeah,
with the EBT, with the BMW.
1000% story, my brother.
Yeah.
It's all real. I have no reason to lie, and I don't have the kind of imagination to make up things.
Yeah.
So it's real. Like I said, synagogues on every block where I live at.
Gotcha.
So trust and believe, as like I said, their loyalty is unwavered. It's unmatched. You know, any other community, you'll not find a community that is as loyal as they are. But nothing is 100% in life. And I've been able to be blessed to get to know a couple of the people who have questions about their culture and don't agree with everything that's being said. They might not say it to their people, but they'll come to a brother like Akeem Shabazz, because I wear my heart on my sleeve. They know who I am, man. You know what I'm saying? I can show you jerseys. I can show you T-shirts with my name on it. So when they see that Shabazz stamp, they know where I'm coming from. They know I'm coming from the God tribe of Sheababytv, and they know what lies in that. Truth. So I everything, like I said, I wear my heart on my chest.
Your chest.
Who I am.
Sir.
So I've been privy to conversations about their culture that not many people have been. You know what I'm saying? So I know what it is. And like I said, it's nothing more than a mere flex of power to exude them, to exude that energy when they do things like try to demand things from us that we adhere. No, you can't do that.
Got you, Reef.
Yeah.
Not happening under no circumstance. But as long as we continue to show levels and forms of ignorance and not care enough about self to really stand on these situations, they're going to continue to move in that direction.
Yeah.
That's what need to be stopped. That's what need to be changed and over and done with, basically.
So, Ox, let me ask you.
Oh, Shay, I'm telling you, this is going to lead to a protest on Manhattan Ave.
No, that's why I'm asking Ox. What do you think, from your opinion, just giving my man some advice, if it makes sense, what would be their next move to not allow this to...
If I was them, I would reach out to every black nationalist organization, get a heat check on them about funding. Because, like I said last week, the one thing that we got to stop doing is going to them when it comes to doing things that's about us.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because once Once
Well,
they
you have to because they
fi-
kind of like
stake in the
own
matter,
all of the. That's the thing, though. They
feel
own
like
all of the
they
property.
but once they have a financial stake in the matter, they feel like they have a
Like you
right
said, yeah,
to
right.
speak on the direction and the purpose. No, no, no. If you didn't know what it was going to be, you should have made it your business to do your research, speak to the individuals involved, and have a clearer understanding. Don't be.
So how do you
foolish.
go around them? You can't. They're the
No, you
town.
can. No, you can.
Yo,
But the
Chess.
problem is we got to
you
be
got-
willing to invest in ourselves the same way we invest in Italian
Okay,
design.
so you're saying the main problem is that the people who wanted to get this done went to them for the money.
Yes. That was the
Finer represents.
Oh, I didn't know that, Dave.
Paul Finer is hard
because when you do
Chess,
that,
what is he? The commissioner or the governor, the
The
mayor?
town supervisor. The town
Yeah, but
supervisor.
you still got to get his approval.
Okay, yes.
Get the approval, not the money.
First off, you can't just go spray paint on the wall.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
It's not no graffiti. This is art. Like, you know what I'm saying?
By the way, Chestnut is beautiful.
Yeah, thanks. And like I said,
From what I
I'm
see,
not the lead artist. I didn't.
It doesn't matter. You were a part of it.
Yeah,
You guys
I'm a part
did
of
it
it. I
together.
just always, you know what I mean? I got
doing the grass.
I don't care if you were just standing there.
Of course.
Part
You
of
know
what I'm saying?
I appreciate it. Yeah, I definitely always want to pay. Give credit where credit is due. I am.
And
I
every
am
time
one
I
of the
see a
artists.
picture online from
Well
other
understood,
people,
my
I
brother.
always see you there.
Yes.
You're there every
Yeah,
day.
thanks.
Exactly.
when you go to them, you're in their eyes, they feel like they have an entitlement in direction and input. And that's what happens when you go outside of your realm, of your circle, of your cipher, of your community. We have to be able to understand that for us to do things and be free about it, it has to be all the way us.
Right.
And like Tone said, there's opposition forces that will stop you upon doing that.
Yeah, right. So,
Yo,
But
first
with
off,
the amount
I'm
of
telling you,
platforms
they
that
really
we
didn't
have,
want to do. They probably really didn't want to do that. Like
Yeah.
that was something they couldn't say no to. So now they found they like it's they don't even want to paint over it. They want the whole thing to come down. They want the whole thing to come down, right?
No, I mean they want image. They want Farrakhan's image to be replaced with something else. So last I heard, Paul Finer, he was saying, "Oh, I don't mind y'all telling the story of the Million Man March, but can y'all replace Farrakhan's image?" I'm just like, me personally, I'm like, how do y'all do that? When Farrakhan was.
I don't care about the
how
didn't even say that.
No, he said,
How
yeah.
do
He's
you
like, I want y'all to
push
tell
your
the story of the
mouth?
Million
Yeah,
Man
that's
March.
crazy. You can't say
How
I don't
you
care
think
about that.
Yo, I'm
Push
telling
your
you,
mouth
they're not gonna back
to
down.
say
They not backing
Million
down,
Man
George.
March and exclude Farrakhan in the
Absolutely.
same
It's
goddamn
like, come
sentence.
on. Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
That
Farrakhan
in
is
itself
banned on
is
every
but
platform.
that's what happens when people feel like somebody's not going to flex on you unless they feel they can do so.
Yeah,
Right.
And we got to change that narrative.
Yeah, no, it's not happening.
We have to change that narrative. That's something that we, as a nation of people, have to. Listen, man, I mean, like I was explaining to someone earlier, I never had to deal with some of the problems in my community, like being harassed with police, because of how I presented myself to them. Don't wait for shit to happen for you to respond. Like, I've been in many communities. I've lived in almost every borough in New York City. Only one I haven't lived in was Staten Island. I had a recording studio out there, so I was heavy in every borough. And one thing I always made myself present to do was be involved. So if I seen a group of kids getting harassed by police, I got active.
Yeah.
I got active. I got into that. I didn't go and approach the officers. I went and I approached the young men. Yo, my brother, what's going on, man? What's the situation? I let them come and engage me. And then after a 5-minute conversation with me, they know they can't take that approach with me. It's all about language. So like I was telling.
So
Shay
you
today,
saying when a cop go up to and someone's, yo, B, fuck off me, son, and all of that you saying that's where they get more like, okay, he don't know the laws. He's ignorant.
Exactly. the
I
law.
said it, you don't have
Like
to
they
know the
tell
law.
you,
Just respect
ignorance
who
is no
does.
excuse to
Respect
the
the
law.
law.
But we're not privy to learn it from them. So we have to take it upon ourselves to know the law. Like I told you, my father used to give me a birthday present of the penal code with $50 in it for my birthday since I was 13, because he knew that I was a member of the 5% Nation, and he seen how active I was with that as a young brother. And he knew, working for 4 different mayors, that, okay, my son got a big mouth. I need to protect him the best way I can. And for him, for me, that was for me to know certain things, how to move about things. Because he always had conversations with us about how to handle certain situations. But me being the young man, I was angry. I used to always fight against it, but it took me some time. By the time I was 16, I understood why he said this is the way to approach things. So like I said, I never really had the experience that some of my brothers did, and that was based on how I carried myself. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Soldier.
One thing the police is they are programmed. Make no mistake of that. It's only a 6-month training, but they are programmed. They are, same way I told you how immigrants are programmed to look at us a certain way. They are programmed to look at us the same way. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So when they engage us, they are already trying to put the bait and switch on. They're engaging us. And then at the same time, they're expecting us not to be defensive in that manner and not to get, that's why you'll always, the police come to you. What is one of the first things they say to you when the situation is drawn down? Calm down. Man, listen, you don't know what my calm is. So how you going to tell me this is me calm right now? But I'm a passionate speaker. So they will in turn mistaken passion as for being
aggressive. Or aggressive, yeah.
Exactly. So we must know these things and know how to counter them. But what I really wanted to speak upon was, you know, the knowledge aspect, because if you don't know the law, then you will fall to these situations. So there's a few penal codes that I would like to share with our audience that they really need to know, because just knowing your rights is not enough. When you approach law enforcement, when you go in courtrooms, even when you're dealing with a lawyer, you got to let them know you know certain things so they know how to deal with your situation. Yeah. If you paying a lawyer, he gonna go hard as hell for you. But if you got that legal aid, you better know how to defend situations yourself and how to tell him how to best defend you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna draw down 5 basic penal codes that I get sick and fucking tired of seeing my people fall to all the fucking time. They fall for it. They play right into the police's hands on it. The first one, the penal code, is 240-20. If you write this shit down.
Yeah, everybody get a pen.
240.
What the hell is that?
240-20 is disorderly conduct. Okay?
Thanks.
The next one, 240-10. That's unlawful assembly. Okay? That is unlawful assembly. They catch us with that, and I'm going to give scenarios out how they play onto this shit on an everyday basis.
Being on the block.
Next one.
Yes.
The next one, 240-08. Inciting to riot. Okay?
Yeah.
They grab us with this shit all the time. Fourth one, 205-30. Resisting arrest. Okay? The second they tell you to put your hands behind your back and they put your arm on your shoulder and you slump your shoulder away, that's 205-30. Okay?
What? Wait, so wait, the moment they feel like you jerking away.
If you are accosted by police and let's say, I'm going to give the example. I'm gonna just draw up the whole scenario where all 5 of these joints will play into one situation. Shay, you and 2 of your friends go to a grocery store, right? Y'all in the neighborhood, y'all just came from the park, y'all playing ball. This shit happens every day. In the midst of y'all going to the grocery store, you come out the grocery store, 3 of your homies from your hood pull up. So now y'all out there talking. It's a Friday evening. Y'all might be trying to figure out what y'all next move is, as young brothers do. They don't plan it like you and I as grown men. We know what we doing on our weekends. They play by ear. So there's 6 young men outside of a grocery store, right? They there, they chilling, they talking, they minding their business. Not doing anything unlawful, not doing anything unruly. Police pull up. They pull up, they slowly pull by. They got their little flashlight on the side of the car next to the rear view mirror, and they flashing lights on you. That is an antagonistic measure that they use because they're expecting you to react to that. Either run or bark at them for doing that. So then they say, you know what? We're going to circle the block. So they go, they circle the block. You still standing there talking. They don't know. Y'all could have not seen each other in forever. So you just having a conversation as we do. They come out, they call, and they pull up. And they ask for identification. First thing they'll do. Yo, what are y'all doing here? Yo, officer, we just chilling. That's what these young brothers say. And then they'll say to him, well, let me see some ID. Then the young brother say, well, I ain't did nothing wrong, so why I got to show you ID? Well, y'all standing out here, that's considered loitering. So now, while the guy that's speaking to them is going, the other cop is going to go into the store and ask the store clerk, store manager, store owner, do these individuals have a right to be in front of your establishment? Because make no mistake, the biggest misconception that we have upon law enforcement is that they are to serve and protect us.
Right.
The biggest lie. They put it on every fucking police car, but it's a lie. Okay?
Thanks.
They are there to protect and serve institutions and businesses. That's who they say to serve and protect. So they have a leeway now. You're in front of somebody else's establishment, and it's 6 of y'all. Now y'all can be deemed an assembly. Now I'm getting to that 240-10.
Right.
Okay? So now they'll go inside the store, ask the store clerk or whoever's there, do they have a right to be there? If the store clerk says no, technically, if you refuse to leave, that is 240-10, unlawful assembly. You ain't got to be doing no protests. You ain't got to be rioting for you to be in commission of 240-10. So then that officer will come out and he'll tell his partner, well, store owner said that they don't have permission to be in front of the store. So now you gotta leave.
Yeah.
Okay? So now our young brothers, we ain't as responsive to cops as people from other communities are. You know what I'm saying? So you're like, yo, man, I ain't doing nothing wrong, man. I ain't doing shit wrong, yada this, yada that. Now they're getting excited. Now you leaning into that 240-20, disorderly conduct. So now, where they were standing 8 to 10 feet from you, they have a right to engage you now.
Right.
Because they just gave you a command. And that command was, you have to disperse from this establishment. So now you don't do that, or you don't do that quick enough. If they say, leave now, or I'm arresting you. Okay? They go, you don't move quick enough, put your hands behind your back. You don't respond to that. Now, your friends that's around you, right? They're starting to get unruly. So now they're falling into that 240-22. that disorderly conduct. Now that cop could call for backup.
That's a fact.
Now that cop could call for backup because it's more people, it's more of them, it's more of you than it is of them. So now in the commission of that, y'all getting uptight, y'all getting insightful, you're starting to make decisions. You at the store right across the street from the projects. So now people in the projects, they hearing the commotion, they starting to see what's going on, they forming around.
That's a fact. Hold on.
I'm from Buffalo. You know what I mean? We're Super Bowl favorites. I had to chill out for a second, make sure I could tame myself. And I ain't want to talk over what these gentlemen were saying.
But y'all
that's
still
a good win.
NY. Y'all still New York. So I'm repping Buffalo.
Okay, that's what's up, man. There we go.
Nah, that's a good win for them. That was definitely a good win for them.
I don't represent teams or markets that I have never been to. You know what I'm saying? Or really particularly care for. Not that I don't care for. I got plenty of love and plenty of brothers out there in LA, but I'm on this coast, bro. I always rock the hometown team, man. All the hometown teams.
I'm John Soul.
Let's get hold on, Akeem. Hold on.
John Soul Day, but I don't think it's.
Let's get Danza involved a little bit. How is it in Buffalo?
Yeah, go ahead,
are you in Buffalo? Are people going through the same situations? Like in I guess where I'm from in New York, we having an issue of there was a painting under a bridge, a censorship. I like that word. That they put together, and then the town came down on them because they put Farrakhan on the wall.
Because they put what? You cut out a little bit. Did it cut out just for me, or did y'all hear that?
Nah, it cut out. He basically said that there was a lot of a big hoopla about the fact that they added Farrakhan to the mural.
Nah, see, I didn't even hear anything about that, and I'm out in Hollywood, Florida. So in Buffalo, listen, Buffalo is a sport. This just recently happened.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know, Buffalo's such a heavy sports town, and them having their sports shit going on there. Nobody was talking about it this week, but I'm sure if it became controversy out there in New York, obviously it's going to reach to Buffalo, and the people are going to talk a lot about a situation like that occurring.
But
what about even in Florida?
Before we lose track, though, Shay, I want to finish drawing that scenario out.
Yeah, draw it out. With the code numbers, right? /204.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So let's get back to it. Basically, I was drawing out a scenario of how the police dupes us into getting arrested.
Absolutely.
Because the question that Tone asked me last week was, how can we change the current status of the black community? And I told him it was a loaded question that has to be broken down into segments. So the first segment I really wanted to talk about, because I feel it's most important, is teaching our youth how to approach dealing with when you're engaged with the police.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? When the police come to confront you, because that's an important element. Like, people don't understand how they use these elements, because identity is so important to them. Them being able to identify. And here in New York City, we have law enforcement really trying to rule with small town values. How, you know, your police department, when you live in a small town, everybody knows everybody. There's no way of doing that. So now how they do that? By arresting you, getting you in the system so they can have some form of ways and means to identify you. So what I did was I spoke of 5 penal codes that we seem to fall for all the time, which is a 240-20, that's a disorderly conduct, a 240-10, that's an unlawful assembly, 240-08, that's inciting the riot, a 205-30, which is resisting arrest, and a 195-05, which is obstruction of governmental administration.
I got
so I drew out a
give him a bomb, Tone.
all 5.
Check those numbers too.
Tone said he gonna check those numbers too.
Feel free to. Feel free to.
Like real shit, I really got 3 of them on my record.
What? Also, these. Also, you saying these? You knew about these codes?
Me?
I mean, I don't know about the code. He told me the code, but when I was younger, those are 3 of them that were on my record a few times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because people, we get baited into those arrests
because we don't know how to shut
all the time.
You know
so
what I mean? We don't know how to shut up when it comes to certain things.
I basically spoke about how Shay
well, he said what you just said, Akeem.
In front of a grocery store. What happened?
Look, I feel I without
he said what you said
into it because I was appreciating what both of you were saying, and I was just tuning in. Like I had to put the game on mute to just listen to what you guys were talking about and sit out for a second.
Got you.
And so I don't want to take over what you guys are saying, but I know that with what you're saying right now, right? I'm Puerto Rican and Dominican. I grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood in the east side of Buffalo.
Yeah, because Akeem, let me give you a little background to him. He fucks with the Griselda. He fuck with the, the Benny the Butchers and them.
I knew that already.
So for him to be from Buffalo, for him to be from Buffalo and fuck with them like that, them some hood niggas. You know what I'm saying?
I love them.
So he's definitely,
I love what they doing.
That's a fact. Real dude.
I love. Listen, man. I love anybody that does what they love and going against the grain because I don't like.
Absolutely, yeah. I love authenticity. You can hear it leaking out of that what they're doing over there. It's to be able to go through the life and explain that life extremely well to the people without sugarcoating shit, which is really what the world is about, which is kind of what I'm trying to say, right? Like, it is hip hop. That hip hop community has raised us, a lot of us. You know what I mean? And that shit gets in our head too much. And when we get approached by police officers, it's almost like that. You fuck the police.
It's like a rap song when they get approached, right?
Yeah, and we can't.
Good shit. Give them a ball.
That's because we've been programmed with all that music I was playing. We've been taught, fight the power, fuck the police, rebel without a cause.
And because
one's a joke.
We approach
like, you know what I'm saying? We self-destruction. Those are all songs that it's like programmed us to be on some fuck you to the cops, but really when we get around them, we're supposed to be like, yes sir, no sir, that's the really right way so you can get along with your day. I don't give a fuck how real
and you could speak your way, right? You just gotta know, like, look, it's fucking tough.
No, hold on, dance. I'm sorry. No. To everyone, do not speak the way you speak. The way you go order.
No, he's saying you can speak your piece, but you gotta have.
No.
The tone gotta be down.
I hear what
he's saying.
You need to.
All I'm saying is 100% speak a little bit differently. We got a little bit of a different.
Gotta learn your yes sir, no sir. I don't care if you think that's bowing down to the man. You need to get home to your family.
But see,
tone.
The way I look at it, in all honesty, if I could get a second, right, is everybody does have their own lingo now. That's something that's understood, worldwide. And the most, if somebody is approaching you with respect, you just give the respect anyways off the jump, right? Have a real conversation about what's going on. There's a definite difference when I was growing up and how all the situations I had with police went versus now that I'm grown up and how the situation with police go, right? Like a lot of the times they do approach it, ignorantly over something that they never needed to approach you like you're a piece of shit for. And at that time, you still have to understand that you're outnumbered in that situation. The most important thing is let me get home and let me make sure that I'm taking care of myself. You know what I mean? If they got to turn that fucking camera on, turn that fucking camera on to protect yourself. You know what I mean? But speak with respect, even if they're coming at you the wrong way, because it's a setup. The entire fucking thing is a setup. All you have to do is fall for one part of their trap, which is 26 layers deep, and it's it.
Exactly. That's why I was taking the time out when I expressed these 5 penal codes that we tend to fall under and fall victim to. Why I felt like the need to. So I was drawing out a scenario where all 5 of them could come into play. You know what I'm saying? So I spoke about how Shay two of his homies go to a store. They come out the store. They see three of their friends pulling up to the store, and they outside talking in front of the store. They outside 10, 15, however long. Cops rolling by. They'll roll by, put their flashlight on you, trying to get you to react to that first. Then they'll do the ride around. They'll go around the block. They'll spin the block. And then they'll come back, and they'll gauge you and start asking you all kinds of questions, expecting you to respond a certain way. So what I'm trying to teach the youth is not that you can't defend yourself, but it's how you defend yourself. And knowing certain things, when you have knowledge of things, you can keep those individuals, that law enforcement department, at bay. Because the one thing that they don't want to know is how much we know and how much we can share. Right. So when you know the law, there's been times that I have been accosted by police, ran down on police, everything. And they'll ask me questions like, excuse me, where you going, where you coming from? And I know how to answer that because my father taught me how to answer that. And one of the things that if you feel like you don't need or feel that you have to answer a question from a police, there's certain language that you use. And one of those things is you say, I do not answer questions. You say that, they're going to take a step back. Okay. All right. Well, he knows this much about the situation. So let me try to hit him with that. And then you keep letting them know what it is that you do know. And a lot of times what I did was I would say to them like, listen, if I am not in the commission of a crime or acting in commission of a crime, you don't have a right to approach me because I am not in the commission of committing criminal activity. That's number one. But I also want you to know that I'm not going to fall prey like many of my brothers did. You're not going to dupe me into a 240-20. And then when I respond to the 240-20, you're going to try to catch me with that 205-30. Now, most of the
I'm telling you, about to go viral. They're going to be like, yo, the nigga with the codes. You know the nigga with the codes on YouTube? They told they're going to be like 2-40. Like, yo, I'm telling you these codes.
Yeah, right.
When you say those things, that makes them take an even step back further. Because when you start speaking the codes, instead of saying, I know my rights, you don't have a right to do this, you don't have a right to do that, you don't know enough in their eyes. So they will continue to antagonize you. They will continue to go about their business as per you are concerned. But when you throw those codes out, they're going to say a couple of things. They're going to think, well, goddamn, well, you know what? This man knows something. So let me find out how he knows. First thing they're going to think that you learned it from is the penal system. They're going to think that you've been in jail. I've been asked it 1,000 times. So how much time you served, officer? Excuse me? I haven't spent a day in prison. What are you talking about? I had a father who served 4 mayors. Next question. Okay? So that's what needs to be understood. When you project yourself as an emotional creature, you're playing into their hands. When you're projecting yourself with that thuggish nature, you're playing into their hands. And you cannot allow that to happen. So like I was saying, before we went to halftime, I was telling them how the fact that they're outside there and the police accost them, they respond a certain way. They've already been in commission of unlawful assembly. Once the store clerks say they don't have permission to be in front of their establishment, and police main objective is to serve and protect institutions and businesses, not the people. That's the thing that we got to get out of our head, is that their idea is to serve and protect us. You have people, my father.
I think that deserves a bomb right there, just so you know.
Yeah, give him a bomb. Yeah, I like that, Diz.
Yeah.
You know, my father pays your salary. No, your father does not pay his salary. Okay? The state pays him. The city pays him. The county pays him. So your taxes, your father's taxes may go to that, but your father don't have no say-so of what goes on in them precincts. Your father don't have no say-so on protocol when it comes to policing. If your father ain't a community activist, he ain't got no relationship with any of those. So there's no recourse for them to feel any kind of way where they feel like they need to fall back. But when
my bad.
you got that camera on and you start speaking those codes, that puts yourself in a much better standpoint when you're dealing with this situation from a legality standpoint. When you sit that recording in front of a judge is going to tell the prosecutor, why did you even present this case when this man had already warned these cops that it's not going this way today? It's not working in their favor.
Yo, Ak.
So you have to educate yourself on how to move.
Absolutely.
Yo, Ak. Oh, hold on. I already know your answer. You already said it in the conversation. But this one's really for Chestnut and for Danza.
By all means.
Growing up, I'm just did your father ever tell you anything about how to deal with the cops? Me personally, my pops never sat me down and said, "This is how you deal with the cops." I learned how to deal with the cops by watching my father get pulled over and watching him go about his business after that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've 6 or 7 times. I never seen him step out the car handcuffed. Here's your license. Go about your day. Like, I seen how he spoke to them.
In and out.
Yeah, you going in and out.
Before it breaks up, I'm just saying, like, did your father ever teach you how to talk to the cops?
No.
Growing up.
So my father really, I love my father as my father, but I don't credit him for raising me at all. I think what I learned, I grew up in the hood of Buffalo. I learned the wrong way first, because I saw so much anger when it came to the police, and I felt like every time that there was a situation with the police in my household, that it was all or we called the police because somebody was on the roof of the house or some shit like that. And it always seemed like we're liars or we're less than or your family's trouble. So I learned early on to have an issue with him, and I saw how everybody else was interacting with him, which is how I learned coming up. I never was given that type of a conversation or had the opportunity to have the type of conversation with my father. And it's the hood raised me as a young kid. When I was I'm walking down the street hanging with my boys, and their uncles on the porch, or their fathers on the porch, or their grandfathers on the porch, and they're saying, Mikey, make sure you don't do this and make sure you don't do that and don't talk to them and they don't like you. You know what I mean? And it's that led me to kind of be in a strange position where I didn't know shit. And so every time was like, okay, it's a problem. And I was the type of person to always scream, oh, don't fucking talk to me. That's why I got those arrests that he was saying, like obstruction of justice, disorderly conduct. You know what I mean? That was me all day because I was trying to get away, get the fuck off me. You know what I mean? Oh, don't talk to me. I don't need to fucking talk to you. I was one of those guys. So it's a shitty thing, but I think
you
a
saying
lot of
in
people,
your early days, you antagonized the cops more.
Yeah, I just immediately, I immediately took it as we were at odds. That me and you don't like each other, and this is how it's going to be. You know what I mean? So it was always aggression, no matter which way it came at me. I came at you. So like when he was just talking about what he's talking about, that shit is so important for people to know that you have an opportunity to, like, if you walk up with knowledge, whether they think you're a criminal, a lawyer, it doesn't matter what they think of you, they know exactly what you said. They got to take a step back real quick.
Exactly.
That could be a huge mistake.
Situation.
Yeah.
See, we throw around. See, one thing we do in our community that bothers me as well. If it sounds good, we'll use it, but we don't apply it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Knowledge is power. It's said by people from all walks of life. It's not a religious-based thing. It's not a spiritual-based thing. It's not a cultural-based thing. It's a real thing. Knowledge, power. But we don't implement what we say sometimes. And what's the sense of saying knowledge if you're not seeking knowledge? Mm-hmm. And you can't walk around in any society and not know how to move and operate in it. So why not learn the law? And I've always pissed off from knowing. So I found out what the power in knowing things was at an early stage. I'm talking about in school, being bored in the classroom because I already know the lesson. You know what I'm saying? That bothered the teacher because the teacher felt like I was being antagonistic when I'm just being bored as a kid. I learned this. I'm thirsty for knowledge. You know what I'm saying? When I joined the 5% Nation, I was taught you need to know 120 lessons in 120 days. I learned it in 87 days because I was just that thirsty for it. I came from a big family. There was always things going on and going around, and I was absorbing everything, whether it was the streets, whether it was good, whether it was bad. I absorbed it because when you absorb everything, it allows you to have a filter. You'll know.
Shout out to Lin 60K.
Won't work for you.
That's a fact.
You know what's good for you. You know what's not good for you. And the fact is that we as older brothers, we have not been teaching our younger brothers. And this is something that's been systemic for generations now. And
let me ask you this question: how do you feel about that gap?
Facts, my boy.
Right, like a question I want to ask you is, how do you feel about the gap? Because I see that, you know, it seems as if nowadays that the older generation doesn't want to deal with the younger generation, but the younger generation doesn't want to deal with the older generation too. I feel like right now it might be the biggest gap of like somebody even trying to listen to you anymore. You know, like as an adult trying to give advice, it feels like you're constantly being pushed away now, which doesn't stop somebody like me from giving the advice. But I see a lot of people giving up because they feel like they're not getting through and they don't try hard enough.
Well, anytime you use the word
music, want
to gap, that it creates a divide between learning, basically. But see, I grew up at a time when learning was important. You know what I'm saying? I'm a late 60s baby. So I grew up in the 70s. I had to learn a lot, and I learned a lot fast. I had to learn who to be around and who to learn from. My father was community involved. He was in tenant patrol. Our building, we lived on the first floor. We seen everything in the middle of the projects. So at an early age, I seen the power that my dad had from being in tenant patrol. I used to literally see gangsters run when they see my father come. Because the first thing he would tell them, with us living on the first floor, is get the fuck out of my lobby. That's number one. I don't care what you're doing here. Get the building, go upstairs. Father had a respect for being someone who was involved. But he didn't just talk. He backed his talk up by doing. My father was also the coach of our building softball league. Okay? We used to have building against building softball leagues.
So that's a real community leader right there.
I know who the Yankees are because Con Ed used to give tickets out to people where we used to be able to go into center field and watch Yankee games. My father, working at the mayor's office, used to bring back tickets for tenant patrol to take the kids, the good ones anyway, but take the kids to see Yankee games that we wouldn't otherwise experience. So my father backed it up. His respect came. So at a young age, I learned that you could be respected in the streets and not be a killer. You could be respected in the streets and not be a gun toter, a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted that power. That's the power I wanted. That's the power I wanted. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, like I said last week, my father taught us how to swim and taught us how to fight. That is a metaphor. That is it's bigger than a double entendre. But that is a metaphor for life, because you need to know when to fight, you need to know how to fight, and when you're in trouble, you need to know how to swim sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Swimming meaning knowing when to stay away from certain things, knowing how not to get baited into drowning.
Man, keep your head above
water.
Yeah.
What we keep doing is we keep drowning ourselves. There's no cement shoes on us because we don't care to know how to deal with something. And when we hear something from a brother like me, they look at it as corny. The youth got to change that dynamic. And that starts at home first. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they think education
Shout out to High Five
right?
in the building.
Yo, you know what? I really think.
They think the real education is cool.
Yeah, the real
like, you know what I mean? Like this education.
Knowledge
Not that like, you know, King Alexander did this shit and that shit. It's that real how to survive.
Knowledge
you know what I mean? How to navigate and how to push forward.
And we came.
Speaking of navigate, I really want to thank. I think playing sports coming up, because when you play sports, you learn how to work the ref, and then, like, you know what I'm saying, like you know how to get the ref on your side. You learn how to, like, not piss off the ref. Just so you have a good game, like, you know what I'm saying. And I think that plays.
I mean, not only that, is you how to be temperamental.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When to turn it on and when to turn it off. And with our youth, they don't have no on or off switch.
Absolutely
it's just from 0 to 100.
And there's a lot less community leaders, which is what I was saying, that gap, the divide. There's a lot less community leaders because they're quitting. They're quitting on these kids. When you have an opportunity to just speak to them, like, it's tough. Yeah, it's tougher now because these kids buy hip hop. You know what I mean? And hip hop used to have a dope message, and that was the majority of hip hop. Now the majority of hip hop is just right. And so their conversation with you, it gets frustrating as hell trying to talk to one of these younger cats, 15, 16, 17, 18.
What up,
they're immediately shut off. They don't want to hear it. You know what I mean?
Okay,
but
so
that doesn't mean that you quit right there. And you watch that growth that starts to happen because it's a lot of people are reluctant. They think it's corny. Like, oh my God, this old head is trying to teach me this shit. I ain't got no time for this. You know what I mean? They don't know what I'm dealing with.
Twisted. So where they can respect the good word from someone who's been incarcerated as opposed to getting the good word from someone who's never been. Absolutely. Now, I'm not perfect. I done my fair share of dirt in these streets. But you know one thing that I've always kept mindful of was the consequences of my actions. And that allowed me to be a critical enough to make sure that I got away.
Yeah.
Like,
but these kids, they don't think like that.
Yeah, because here's the question I wanted to ask. Yeah, here's a question that I wanted to ask Danza, with you and Chester being in here, with your opinion on after his answer. Being that you're that you have a platform and that you deal with a lot of the rappers, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't me. I wanted to hear your answer. Bringing them on your platform, do you sometimes, like, have the feeling of giving them the promotion, knowing that what they're doing and what they're saying and their message is wrong, opposed to the artists that are delivering the right message? Because in our world,
absolutely,
the guys that are delivering the wrong message is how you get what you need as the platform, or have all the drama that are talking about smoking somebody, shooting somebody.
Live and direct, and so everything, it cut out for a second, but the the people that come on our platform, the artists that come on our platform, they're from, you know, all different places. And, all, you know, their music is coming from all different places. You know, like somebody's speaking motivational message, somebody's painting a picture for you, somebody's just rapping and they're great with the melody, the music sounds great. I try to, when I have a conversation with somebody on my podcast, I think the most important thing for me always to do is have a conversation with the individual, talk to the individual about their real life. Pushing out what we want to push out. And what I always want to push out somebody is the good in people.